Okay, so thank you for the introduction. Looks good. I just want to shout out, I had two Vassar undergrads working with me, Miles and Gaku, and they put in a ton of hard work and they put up with me, so that's like major props already. We wanted to evaluate off-ball runs, and we came up with 3 components that we thought we should measure: the potential reception score, the space manipulation score, and the support score. I want to focus on those latter 2 because they were really trying to quantify the spatial impact of a run. The space manipulation score, the goal was to measure the space created for the teammates of the runner, and we weighted that space by how dangerous it was. The support score focused on the space around the ball carrier and said, okay, is there pressure alleviation here? Is there passing options to maintain possession? So these latter 2 components, we wanted to think about how to measure them. When a run happens, there's a lot of other movement going on that's independent of the run, and we didn't want to include that independent movement in how we were evaluating a run's effectiveness. So what we did was we created what we called a no-run state. And the idea was, what would the end state look like if we suppose the run hadn't happened? So I want to go into the details of the no-run state a little. We had 2 main principles. We made the runner passive. They were allowed to move a little bit from their initial position, but only in a way that made sense with respect to the rest of their team. And then we identified influence defenders, and we moved them to a new location given the runner's new position. I have a little run graphic here. 9 is my ball carrier in blue, and 25 is the runner. While we watch this, oh, I just clicked right by it. Okay, well, we can't watch the run happen. I'm not sure why. But 25 is going to run down, and notice at first 16 is marking 25, and at the end, 17 is here marking 25. So this gives us some inspiration as to who we think might be the influence defenders of the run. Here I have the end state beside the no-run state. And okay, so 16 is who we call our main defender because they were marking the runner at the initial frame of the run, and then 17 is who we call the secondary defender, because in our no-run state, the secondary defender is going to have some freedom to move around. For these defenders, we give them a region of potential movement, and then we move them based on some optimization functions. The optimization functions take in a bunch of information from the state, and it also is going to take in factors like the overall field location, the player's position, whether they're like a defender or a forward, and so on. So once we have the no-run state, we're able to look at some statistics. We restricted the data set to outside backs in the NWSL. I wanted a full player pool, but looking at everyone was a lot of time. I have just the distribution plots. For the top is my potential reception score. On the bottom, I have space manipulation and support score. And I also have their correlations if you're interested. I think what's maybe more valuable for us to look at is to look at some example runs. If they play. Okay, so this middle run is the one that I showed on the last slide, was an underlapping run. And this has a particularly high score in all 3 categories. In parentheses, I've put the percentile ranking from our data set. The space manipulation score was caused by that secondary defender movement 17. When the run happened, 17 had to reach out to go defend the runner, but in the no-run state, 17 was able to stay tucked in because we valued the defensive structure in this. Okay, let's see if one plays. I don't know why they're not playing. Here we have a run by Izzy Rodriguez. And so 18 is my runner here in blue. She makes a really long run down the field to receive a ball. That's the top row of my table. The potential reception score here is the highest in our data set. Notice that the space manipulation score isn't so large, but the way I think about these components in the metric is that a single run isn't going to be great across the board necessarily, but it could be strong in certain areas depending on the overall goal of the run. The last run I want to point out here is on the other side. So 16 In blue is going to be the runner. 8 is a bit hard to see. They're inside of the box. But they have the ball. And when the run happens, we'll see the end of it. 16 pushes out. And notice that a defender 6 in red goes with 16. Right? And this is what creates the high support score of the run, which is in the 98th percentile, because dragging that runner out, even though 16 isn't a great passing option, it alleviated the pressure near 8, who's carrying the ball here. With this, we were able to look at our outside backs. We restricted to outside backs with at least 30 runs because we wanted significant playing time, and we were able to look at who were the best performers in each of these metrics over the course of the season. So here I have the top 4 in each component, and what we can notice is that there are some people who are strong across the board. Izzy Rodriguez was top 4 in all 3 categories per run, but then we also have defenders who were strong in some categories and maybe neutral or weak in others. In particular, Carson Pickett has a very high potential reception score, but her support score per run was quite low in the data set. It was like bottom 8. And this could be, areas for potential player improvement, or it could just be a tactical decision made on how you're going to make runs and how you're going to get open into space. The last thing I want to say is just the future improvements and work. The no-run state, I see a lot of improvements to it that we can address. We sampled from the initial and the final frame of the run, but you could definitely sample across the entire run to get more influenced defenders and potentially add influenced teammates and adjust their positioning. One thing I'm interested in is testing the components on more runs, especially more positional groups. We were able to find logical gaps when we were kind of beta testing that allowed us to rewrite some aspects of the no-run state. We noticed when goalkeepers had the ball, we had a major issue and address those. So it would be good for addressing potential improvements. Okay, so that's what I have. Thank you.